We have now turned off the active runway. Passengers wishing to use their cellular devices may now do so.
Good morning and welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be flying with Porter Airlines, a regional airline based out of downtown Toronto at the City Centre Airport. And we'll be heading up to Thunder Bay, Ontario on the west side of the province. Porter Airlines started back in 2006, 16 years ago, and during the pandemic they took the step of just shutting down entirely all their flights, and they remained out of operation for I think it was 18 months and only started back up again in September 2021. And right now it's the end of July, so just about 11 months ago, not even a year. My flight's at 10:45 and me with my infinite wisdom, I decided to book a ticket on a Sunday morning, which means all the buses are on Sunday schedule. Plus Caribana is going on downtown, so there's a bunch of street closures. But nonetheless, it's a lovely summer's day here in Toronto, so come along, let's head up to Thunder Bay as we go from A to B.
Please have your card ready to tap on. Thanks for choosing this.
Our early morning starts in the neighboring city of Mississauga, the same city where YYZ is located. For me, flying out of Toronto City Centre takes a bit more planning, as it's a bit out of the way, or as they say in Japanese, mendokusai. So I rarely make my way down here, but it's fun to change things up once in a while. My bus came right on time, and thus we start our 55-minute journey to downtown Toronto. We arrive at the new Union Station bus terminal. Porter has a free shuttle that takes you to the ferry. Did I mention the airport's on an island? It departs from the west side of the Royal York Hotel. You just gotta follow the signs to Front Street. Downtown has a large underground walking system known as PATH, which connects many of the buildings, useful for those chilly winter days. Also useful for getting lost. Passing by the main hall of Union Station means we're on the right track. So if you do this right, you'll get off on Front Street, and then on the west side of the Royal York should be the bus. From here, there's two ways to reach the airport. When it's running, you can take the world's shortest ferry ride, not kidding, or the pedestrian tunnel. The small airport is named after Billy Bishop, attributed as the best fighter pilot in the British Empire during the First World War, and the airport does a pleasant job of highlighting his achievements. While on the topic of history, during World War II, the airport hosted a training facility for Norway and was referred to as Little Norway. With the history behind us, the small check-in area is used primarily by Porter, with a few kiosks for Air Canada for their flight to Montreal. The small terminal has a nice variety of seating options in the center, and a few restaurants off to one side. You won't find any gates in the traditional sense. The announcement will tell passengers which door to go through, and you can see the podium for each flight is located beyond the first set of sliding doors. Alright, so you can really see the benefit of the downtown island airport. If you're staying downtown, or if you live in Toronto, I mean, it's really quick to get to. It's a smaller airport, so the security lines are smaller, and they have a nice little lounge gate side here. I haven't been here for maybe 10 years, and back then Porter had their lounge thing down here, but that's gone. They put in the restaurants and all this nice seating and all that stuff. So I mean, if you're flying to, let's say, Montreal, New York, or Boston, Chicago for, you know, a weekend or something like that, I mean, it kind of makes sense to come down here. Now granted, there's also the UP Express, which goes to Pearson, but that didn't exist when Porter started flying in 2006. But nonetheless, it's just another option for consumers to choose when they're flying, and it's a nice place to drop by for a flight. Anyway, it's 9 8:30 now. We don't board for another 40 minutes, so I just grabbed a coffee and I'm just hanging out over here and just watching the TV. Right, it's time to board. If there's one critique of Porter, it's their tiered pricing plan. I find it a bit too much, like an ultra low cost carrier. On one end, there's basic, which doesn't even permit a carry-on bag, besides a personal sized item. And your boarding pass must be retrieved at the check-in counter. On the other end is freedom, which gives passengers the most choice. I went with the standard category, which allows for the carry-on baggage, but seat selection came at a fee, even at check-in. And on a Q400, I don't see the $23 value to change from my pre-assigned seat. So for this flight, we're in 17B, which makes filming outside a little, well, bendoksai. Currently, Porter has 29 aircraft in their all Q400 fleet. Each has 78 seats on board, with one lavatory located at the front. I had a wonderful seat neighbor who I chatted with for the duration of the flight, and I was able to catch some nice views of the city soon after takeoff. And hey, even the dome was open. Our 2-hour flight would take us northwest over the lakes to the west side of Lake Superior. Porter's Q400 aircraft have a single cabin in a 2-2 seating layout, with base seats complemented with gray tables, antimacassars, and armrests. I find the overhead bins a bit tight for my 30-liter bag on these Q400s, and generally have to remove some items to make it fit comfortably. The seats are basic, and you can see the utilitarian design of the seat. Seatback is equivalently simple, consisting of a small table and pocket beneath. With a seat pitch of 30 inches and the seat's minimalistic design, I'd say it feels roomier compared to a regular seat with an equivalent pitch. The tray table is quite small, able to comfortably fit a tablet, but maybe not a laptop. There is no IFE on board, so to keep passengers in the aisle seats occupied, there's Porter's in-flight magazine, where you can read up on their upcoming new Embraer aircraft. And here's a quick look at Porter's destinations, and you can see Thunder Bay is as far west as you can get with this airline, and they generally focus in the northeast of North America. And like many other Dash 8s, there's a reading light and air control above. Keep in mind, there's no power outlets, USB ports, or Wi-Fi, so be sure to charge your phone and camera in the terminal if you intend on making any wacky flight reviews, or to watch some videos. And of course, I always welcome new viewers to subscribe for wacky flight reviews and other travel-related content. In fact, why not leave a comment and let us know where you're watching from. One aspect that separates Porter from other carriers in North America is their complimentary snack and drink, and this was a pillar of their service ever since they started flying. They feature local products, and I went with chips and this Lughead IPA. So cheers to heading up north to see some great friends who I haven't seen for 3 years. And here's a look at the laboratory at the front of the aircraft. And you can see at some point they removed the waterworks and replaced it with the hand sanitizer. And 2 hours later, we made it to Thunder Bay. I went to university in this city and done this route dozens of times over the years, so I was happy to do it again and to bring you along with me. The cost for this one-way standard ticket came to $157. Alright, so we made it to Thunder Bay, and that's Porter Airlines' regional flight. And overall, it was a nice, smooth flight across the province. It was a nice, clear day for most of it. It got a little bit overcast after we got to Lake Superior. But nice flight, and I believe they're the only airline, at least the only airline that I know of, in Canada to provide you with a complimentary alcoholic beverage during the flight, and they did that ever since the start, and I'm glad they continue that after the pandemic. And even though there's no seatback entertainment or anything like that, I was able to talk with my neighbor and have a nice chat for an hour and a half, and sometimes that just makes a flight all that much better. Let me know what you thought about Porter Airlines regional flight. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you around next time.